Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of GeekVerse podcast, specifically episode 483. That is a nice, solid triple-digit number right there. I am the Field of Fields, Taylor Field, and I am joined by...
I am the news anchor, Jessica.
And I'm the ad-hoc caster, Dylan Musk.
That is right. And we got a whole plethora of news content we're going to be talking about tonight. But before we get into that, we got to shout out the social media channels. You can find us on our website, home base, GeekVerse.ca. Our social media channels, Facebook, GeekVerse Podcast, Twitter, GeekVerse Cast, and Patreon. We get ad-free, exclusive, early episodes. Great time. Lots of good stuff there. Additionally, we got a whole chunk of stuff coming out this week. Dylan, what do we got going on in SideQuest?
SideQuest's pretty spicy. Me and Travis did some predictions for Summer Game Fest and affiliated things. And then Taylor, me and you, we're recording a bit early because we're going to cover the State of Play, which will be part of SideQuest next week. But that State of Play part, we'll upload that right away. So that'll be up Thursday night-ish so that we can get some, timely coverage of that. And then next week, me and you will do some Xbox predictions. So good times in the SideQuest world.
I'm looking forward to that predictions. It's going to be good. Next week, we got, again, more stuff dropping. We got finally the Jurassic World 3 review is going to be dropping. I'm super stoked for that. We got our retros that are popping off right now for the original films. And what else we got? We got Obi-Wan that's dropping weekly. I guess another episode will be out tonight if you're up till midnight or 9 p.m., hopefully.
Why don't they just announce it? That must be
They
very
should.
annoying.
Last week, they literally did like... What was it? It was like 8 o'clock. They're like, oh, we're dropping at 9 p.m. PST. And we had to change the whole schedule. It was chaos.
Yikes.
But such is life. Aside from that, I guess The Boys is dropping as well. This week. Oh, man. Yeah, first 3 episodes, I believe. And that's going to be a good time. I'm trying to allot a section of time in my schedule to watch it and review it. But I just don't know if I'm going to have time. This week's just getting so busy. So
Yeah.
You've watched it all, though, completely?
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic.
Okay. I'm so excited.
Have you watched it at all, Dylan?
No, not a single episode.
No?
Not even a single TV spot.
No.
Maybe someday.
It's worth
You
the
like
watch.
superheroes?
I've been known to like a superhero or two.
You like a little violence?
Ooh. Yeah. Love that violence.
There you go. Oh, yeah, be sure to keep in tuned for that. That'll be dropping later this week. I think that's pretty much it for our content at this time. But before we get into some more news here, I just want to drop some thank yous to our Patreon producers.
Ooh.
Aaron Braden, you're a legend. April Darkness, you're absolutely fabulous. Carl Ritchie, you're a goddamn saint. And Smiley Biggs, you are just an absolute top tier person. Thank you for all just joining and supporting us with all your doings and support and everything.
Carl's a
do it
lot of
without
things.
you.
Is saint an accurate word?
You won't hear that from Travis, I can tell you that.
Well, that was
Love
for
you, Carl.
Carl, right? Carl's on
Yeah.
Taylor's side for everything, so I think there's a bit of bias
Right.
there, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's fair.
But without further ado,
Can I ask you a question first before we get into news?
oh yeah,
This is complete throwback, like predating podcast. Was it originally... It was Taylor's idea to start a podcast, right? Like, he said it first?
I'll take credit for it. I don't remember the actual specifics.
So
I
long
know
ago.
it was a very long time ago. I know we were talking, and it was like a communal joke or something like that came out of E3 or something like that. I feel like
We all said one letter of the word podcast and then just like put it together.
this all came together.
Okay. I was just thinking about it today. I was talking with some older generational family members and was like, yeah, that guy that I blurred out in my picture that also shaved his head was the one that suggested it.
I have that photo saved. I don't know if I can ever delete it. Just like I look at it, I'm reminded like, oh my God. For a little context here, Dylan, Jessica got a calendar printed off with like photos of her and family and stuff. And like the one photo is like her and me for our GeekVerse Gauntlet matchup. And my face is cut out in black like marker or whatever.
Whoa.
It's some serial killer stalker stuff.
That's
freaky.
kind of fucked up. I gotta be honest.
Okay, they saved it off my Facebook. I was sharing it because I was, like, I'm the important one shaving my head. Like, look at Taylor's hair. It didn't
Wait,
matter
Jessica,
if he
did
shaved
you
his head.
cross the face out, or did unknown family member cross the face?
No, I did it, and then they saved it. And
Oh my god. one of our own. Throw him to the wolves, why don't you?
There's a lot of backstory going on with that.
Here, okay, I found it. Here's for the viewers that are watching anyway.
Right at the bottom there.
Okay.
Just a whole smudge right down from top of my head to my torso.
Okay, that's not as bad as I was expecting.
You thought like my eyes were blacked
Well, that
out or
makes you
something?
just look like you're about to unlock a Smash Bros character. and it's
Okay,
you,
I'll
like-
take it. That's
a
a,
bit
that's a
like-
plus.
I thought it would just be like, forget about this guy kind of thing. But no, that works.
New challenger.
I mean, you could
approaching.
still see him there. It's not like I completely cropped him out.
Do people ever ask like who is that on the calendar, or did the month pass?
It was in February.
Oh, okay.
Long gone.
Well, without further ado, shout out to Travis for providing me and us with these fantastic talking points and
Yes,
topics.
thank you.
Our first one, however, is all about Star Wars. I know you guys are some of the biggest Star Wars fans I know. Look at Dylan. He's just rocking the shirt
my
there.
merch.
That's fantastic. I like it.
Wow.
So, we have some new Star Wars movies that are set to be after the sequel trilogy. In an interview with Empire during Star Wars Celebration, the one and only Kathleen Kennedy talked about where on the Star Wars timeline upcoming movies will be set. And I quote, "We're moving further beyond the existing sequels as we look to our movie space. The sequel era is what we talk a lot about in terms of where we're going with our movies and just how far out from that we'll go. That's very much the space we're concentrating on." Again, this is heavily implying that Taika Waititi's film will dabble in this part of the Star Wars timeline. So how do you guys feel about this?
Well, I'll start right off the bat. I mean, mathematically, like, you're just flipping a coin. It's like it's either before the movies or it's after. Like, you're not going to sneak anything in between. So it's like it's only one of two options if you really narrow it down. I think this is the safest route to go. I guess the speculation would be then how closely related is it to, I guess, Episode 9 and the events of that trilogy and those characters? Or do they go kind of way past it and once again start a new trilogy, essentially, where they can tie some things in, but it's just they can get a whole new band of characters and cast a whole bunch of new people and that kind of thing. But yeah, I guess I would probably be more interested in them going forward instead of more prequels and just tying even more things back. Like, I think that just gets messy. It's already gotten messy in some ways, but it just gets messier. So I think that's the route to go, and I guess it will just kind of remain to be seen how far, when we get that crawl on Episode 10, like how far in the future are we from the last events that we saw.
So for you, moving away from these established characters and stories and events, it's a positive then?
It's tricky because I really do like some of the characters and whatnot that we got in that sequel trilogy, but the trilogy, the movies as a whole were super messy, right? So I would be very much wanting to just pick and choose, and I think that could get tricky as well from the directors. Like, you can't just erase, I mean, I guess you could just erase the stuff that you don't want to roll with, but whatever it is, I hope the next trilogy has a lot more unity to it. But there's a lot of characters that I really enjoy, and there's a couple, unfortunately, that didn't make it that I would have liked to see more of. But yeah, I think I'd like to see a few of them come back for sure, and maybe just rethink some of the other stuff that was a little bit messily done.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jessica? Okay, I wasn't sure if you were dipping out.
So I think that they should just drop and move on to something else. For me, the whole Princess Leia thing, the CGI, trying to keep these characters around, to me, I didn't like it, like, at all. So if they're going to go back to bringing in awkward CGI Force ghosts and things like that, I don't want to see it. That being said, if they were to continue on with some of the characters, that we do know, I'd still watch it. It's not enough to be like, okay, I'm super done with this, go away. But I definitely, kind of that last episode wasn't super exciting for me. Doesn't have enough pull for me to be like, yeah, I need another one of these now. So I think that was kind of the general consensus, if I remember correctly, about that episode. It was just kind of killed it for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. How do you guys feel about getting like more standalone films compared to another whole trilogy? Is there one that you guys would want over the other?
I think it depends if they can get their shit together, right? Like if they can get someone signed on board, or at least like a set, like like 3 directors to do. Like realistically, they should just get one director to sign on for all 3 of them, and they don't get this weird mess where one guy made a movie and the second guy wanted to go far away from that movie, and then the first guy came back and was like, no, remember my cool stuff. It's such a fucking mess. So, but I mean, I think probably the right way to go for them for a few years is to do some solo ventures. And so Taylor, I haven't fully caught up with it all. Like there were so many Star Wars things announced in the last week. In terms of like, I know a lot of them are like most of them are TV show things, right?
Yeah.
Where are most of those set? Like, are they still dancing around that dark era? I know Obi-Wan's kind of in the middle there and whatnot. But like, where are most of these things? Are they doing things post the sequel trilogy, or are they going before the prequels? Are they still staying in that dark times?
We're pretty heavily in the dark times still. Like with Andor, that's dark times.
Okay.
Obi-Wan, yeah, dark times. And season 2 of the Bad Batch, again, it's dark times. However, there's a silver lining. We got Mandalorian season 3 teaser, which is again post Return of the Jedi, post episode 6. We got the Ahsoka show teaser. That's after episode 6 as well.
Okay.
And they even announced another animated series, Tales of the Jedi, which will have like prequel stuff. It'll be like young Count Dooku, young Qui-Gon Jinn. And that's all animated. Right. So they're dabbling and trying to spread their wings a little bit more.
I guess we haven't really got much stuff between 6 and 7.
No, really, we haven't. And I'm pretty sure it's a time period of 30 years. So there's a lot that they can explore there. S-Bubs in the chat, 5 years after Return of the Jedi is 5 years after Revenge of the Sith? 5 years after Return of the Jedi is the new 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. I don't understand that.
This is like a puzzle.
I don't get it. S-Bubs, please elaborate.
I don't know what's going on in that sentence. But, so, I mean, I guess it's just if we summarize, it seems like they really don't want to go before the prequels. Or I guess that one Qui-Gon thing would be...
The Qui-Gon thing is before, young Qui-Gon. And then obviously there's Acolyte that's set 100 years before the prequel movies.
Acolyte?
Yeah. That was the one they announced at like that D23 Expo a year ago.
Is that another TV show?
A live-action TV show, yeah. It's set like right at the end of the High Republic, 100 years before the Phantom Menace takes place. So we're getting a little bit of stuff with that, but they're still treading lightly, I guess.
So would you say their strategy then is for the TV shows and I guess we'll say just Disney Plus stuff, they want that to be kind of firmly within those 3 trilogies, and then movies for the next few years are going to be kind of set post episode 9? Is that just the general strategy maybe?
It kind of feels like
leave that uncharted territory for the movies, big screen.
I am thinking so, because the last movie, again, Dark Times, was Solo, and since then, no movies. It's just been dead in the water. So it does kind of feel like they don't want to tackle a movie in a safe period of time that is already established in the Star Wars universe. So yeah, maybe they are exploring these options in the sequel trilogy realm.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of that? Is that exciting for you, or do you wish we were getting more Disney Plus shows in that era, or do you want movies to be placed elsewhere? Do you want to see some other stories told through the movie?
I'm a glutton for punishment. Like, let's just give me Star Wars everywhere. I like the idea of getting that sequel trilogy era because there's so much that we can explore. I want to see the new Jedi Order rise. I want to experience it because right now we're just like one Jedi over a course of like 60, 70 years, and that's depressing. I want more Jedi. On the other hand, I want to see dozens of Sith Lords. I want to see going back like hundreds of years from the prequel era and just give me characters that, I guess High Republic does a good job at this. Characters, for the most part, that are dead now, but there's such a huge span of time that I still can care about them and care about their journeys and their development as characters. So when I say I want both past and future, I stand by that. But when I see something like an Andor teaser trailer or something that's focusing on the dark times, it just pulls me back in, and not because it's the safe play, but because it just tackles things that I'm familiar with. I really wanted to see. Like, I never thought I would get to really see the Imperial Senate live action. It's always been something that just kind of is looming in your mind and you just paint a mental image of. But now I get to actually see it in the Andor show, so I'm all for that. SWAB is clarifying some things here. I mean that they're doing lots of stuff 5 years after Return of the Jedi, whereas before they're doing lots of stuff 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, that makes sense. They're kind of like spreading their wings now down that road.
Right.
Super Bad Mike. I want to see them go hundreds of years in the future or past. They don't have to worry about any continuity, at least for a few projects. And
yeah, that's tricky. Hundreds of years in the future. Yeah, I guess at that point, like you're in that world, but you aren't really connected to any of those old characters and stuff. I don't foresee them doing that for the movies.
It'd
like
be
maybe
bold.
Way in the future, but that
They
seems
only-
like risky.
They only have one character that they could port over, and that would be Grogu. Because, I mean, he's only fit in his 50s. So if you were to jump like 400 years down the road, I mean, he'd fit into that storyline perfectly.
Right. Do you think that's something they would do? People love that character.
I've been dabbling within the back of my mind, just like SBubs here. Yeah, that's how you get the Grogu solo trilogy.
Oh, God.
It's been something I've played with in my mind, thinking like that would be perfect timing if we get maybe another film with Rey coming back with Daisy Ridley, and she's like, "Oh, Grogu, here you go." But is Grogu going to be a Jedi? I don't think that's the case anymore after seeing something. Spoilers: Book of Boba Fett.
Sure.
And I guess Mando season 3, which is a shame. But yeah. What else do I got here? I know Kathleen Kennedy. This is me kind of just memeing a little bit. She has a passive saying and denying things when it comes to Star Wars. And
Unreliable narrator.
yeah, I'm trying to remember specifically how Travis put it, but there was like rumors about Kevin Feige working on his movie, Star Wars movie, and then she was denying it, and then now she's talking about how like, yeah, we got Kevin Feige working on a Star Wars movie and stuff.
So it is happening. It's
I believe it's happening.
It's currently on the confirmed side of things, but it's like a scale. It goes back and forth.
I believe I would definitely attribute it to more on the scales, but it should be happening. The most confirmed movies that we have right now are the Taika Waititi one, which seems like that's the next one coming in 2023. And then after that, we should be getting Rogue Squadron, which is still slated for December 2023 as well.
So those have filmed, or they're in production right now?
Well, Rogue Squadron went through that little kerfuffle with Patty Jenkins at that one point in time, but I think they just stated they're kind of going back and revisiting certain parts of its production. That being said, they still haven't changed or reconfigured its release date, so I'm very curious about what they got cooking up with that. But
And what about Taika's? Is that been filmed yet, or where's that at?
I don't know where that's at, to be honest,
Because that's coming out next year. Like, you gotta get going.
I know. I feel like we would have seen maybe like a hint of something at Star Wars Celebration if that's the case, but maybe it's probably still
Thor.
too early. Yeah, he's making Thor. Yeah, and once after Thor comes out, then I'm sure we'll start getting a little bit more insight into that. So. Yeah. Jessica, I was curious. So if we were to tackle like new Star Wars films, would you want it to be more in like the prequel stuff, or would you want it to be more like sequel stuff? You said not really like the CGI Force Ghosts. So I'm envisioning you're probably more like the prequel kind of thing.
Yeah, I would. I think it's been said in one of the casts, but definitely kind of that rise of the Sith. You know, when we start in the prequels, you know, we got hundreds and hundreds and thousands of Jedis. You know, there's a bunch of different Sith lords. Lisp. So, you know, kind of finding out how we got to that. You know, how come... there's probably a reason, and I just don't know it. You know, the different color for Mace Windu's lightsaber. Why is he the only one with purple? How were the colors, like the crystals that started this all founded? Things like that. There's a lot of information that you could go with that way. And then something else I wanted to throw out that I didn't get a chance to before is talking about, you know, doing trilogies or standalone movies. I think that doing standalone movies would be a good way to go. You know, just give some... You know, if someone doesn't want to be completely, you know, on the edge of their seat waiting for 3 movies, it's a lot to watch and add on. I think single movies are a great way to go. However, we have to move away from doing stories that are done. Solo, bringing back characters and trying to recreate that. I don't want them to do like a standalone Kylo Ren as a child movie and then get some random actor that kind of looks like Adam Driver to be Kylo Ren. Just do what was it? Rogue One 2 was about blowing up. It's all about things that have already happened instead of just having their own storyline.
So would you not want a Kylo Ren movie, period?
Sorry. With what? Adam Driver? Or are
yeah, sure. Let's say Adam Driver. I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to make Travis pop a blood vessel as he listens to this.
because he's gone, isn't he? Like he force evaporated or
he's
whatever.
He's pretty gone.
He could come back.
So this is gonna be what, 8.5? Just kind of like in the middle of his reign.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it could be in between that sequel trilogy, or it could be like a week leading up to episode 7. I mean, but with Adam Driver, so he's still able to play himself, not like super young, like you mentioned, where it's like a kid actor.
So using some de-aging CGI a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, if they could find a way to do it well, I love Adam Driver, so I'm okay with it in that sense. But I really don't think there's a way to make that work that's not awkward and money grab-y.
Mm-hmm.
The movie could be him going to defeat Rian Johnson and then going to save J.J. Abrams to bring him back to the trilogy.
I think you made a good point with that, because a lot of people don't necessarily want to see all these characters de-aged. I think that's something that they talked about too. They were stepping away from these prominent characters from Star Wars and like making them young, de-aging them, all that kind of stuff. But it's still kind of weird because we have, I think, the show Lando, where he's supposed to come back there, and we have other characters that are doing the same thing. So it's just a weird dynamic that I feel like they're just juggling around, trying to find their footing with, like de-aging certain characters, having new actors play these familiar characters. It's touchy waters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'm wondering how all the different Disney Plus shows are going to kind of play into how many people want to see certain things. As an example, I asked my mom about Multiverse of Madness. I said you need to have seen kind of WandaVision first because it explains a lot. And she's like, oh, well, I'm not going to go to it then because I don't want to watch WandaVision. So, for me, I haven't watched Mandalorian, not watching Obi-Wan, not watching Lando. Am I going to know what's going on in the next episode? How much of this ties into everything? If they do another Disney Plus series that leads into the new characters for episode 10, do I have to watch that before I can understand what's going on? So that would be kind of my worry too, with all the extra side pieces that are going on, that they might be getting, kind of too niche. You really have to be a Star Wars fan to be in the Star Wars world.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll make the trilogies pretty user friendly. Like, I don't think you'll have to dip into any of that extra stuff. And even just like Obi-Wan will not be a relevant character for episode 10, Like, I think obviously all those other shows, there's a lot going on there, but I think they'll make it pretty user friendly in that way. And yeah, maybe they'll smooth that over a bit more than Marvel, because Marvel, even like in Doctor Strange, they have like a couple throwaway lines of like what she did, but you're right, you're not going to get the full picture, or even half, or even a quarter of the picture just from watching only the movies, or even just this one movie. So
my 70-year-old mom, I took her to Doctor Strange, and she had no idea what the hell was going on with Wanda. Like, Westview, what?
That's totally fair.
So yeah,
they have like a line that's like, she took over a town, but it's like, what does that mean exactly?
completely over
mayor?
her head. Yeah. So I think for the most part we'll be okay with Star Wars, because it's not one. It is one timeline and story that's unfolding, but it's not, hey, we blew up Death Star 3 in the Obi-Wan show or something like that. Like, it's nothing huge and major that you have to be a part on to understand, like episode 9 or something like that. So I think it's okay. It's mostly like exploring developments among these characters and just like tackling people's nostalgia. At least that's my interpretation of it.
It is getting pretty insane though. Even if you just watch the movies, like having to do 9 movies worth of homework just to get caught up for 10. And obviously, it ages out over time where you don't necessarily need the prequels information for that. But you're right, it's all like one continuous thing. But it is getting kind of messy, and maybe that is the reason why they should just go do one-offs movies that work on their own and have their mentions to like the greater Star Wars world, but it's truly just in their own galaxy somewhere else far away.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, Jessica.
So just because we're doing kind of those delves into Lando and Mandalorian, things like that, this is just a not totally related. Would you want Mace Windu, like finding out him and his purple lightsaber, or is there certain characters that you're hoping for to eventually get their own spin-offs?
Like why Mace Windu got his purple lightsaber crystal?
Oh,
well, just
Disney
like
would be so happy to be able to use that de-aging tech on Sam Jackson again. Oh, they love doing that so.
I'm sick of all these motherfucking aliens on my motherfucking planet.
Oh, yeah, I'd be down. I'm pretty sure Tales of the Jedi they mentioned young Mace Windu in it. So, again, that's an animated series, not live action. But, I mean, it's a story that they will maybe explore. So I'd be game for that.
Is that stuff all canon too?
As far as I know, everything Star Wars that's released right now is canon.
They just burned the books. They burned the archives.
Not all the books, I guess, count because the books discredit some parts in the movies, and Travis likes to talk about that more than I do. So, what do we got here in the chat, though? Oh, okay. S-Bubs, you're confirming what I was talking about with Kathleen Kennedy earlier. It was announced by Kathleen Kennedy that Feige was working on a movie, and then in the Vanity Fair article, she says something like, "Oh, I'd really like if Feige made a Star Wars movie." So there's obviously some misconceptions among the workers over there. Super Bad Mike. I agree, more character movies like Rogue One, less origin stories of legacy characters. Definitely would like that.
We are kind of coming to a wrap on kind of the original piece. We don't have Skywalker, Leia, Solo, things like that, right? They've all kind of been killed off now. So, at this point, maybe it could kind of pivot and use some of the same characters, but go in a new direction and stop bringing up these old characters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like Kylo Ren says, does he say let the past die, kill it if you have to, or is it someone else that says that?
I am never going to be able to tell you who said that.
Why is this line, let the past die, kill it if you have to? No, that's not Star Wars. Is it Star Wars? Oh, it is. Holy shit.
Kylo, yeah.
It is Kylo.
There's a YouTube parody song.
Let the past die. Holy shit. Okay, good. I shouldn't have questioned myself. S-Bubs, I doubt the Disney Plus shows right now will affect the upcoming movies, unless they made a Mandalorian theatrical movie, which Pedro Pascal did hint. Wow, we're getting rowdy in the chat. Oh my god, you're getting out of there. Jesus Christ. Let's get you out of there. Yeah, Pedro Pascal mentioned, because I think someone asked him if he would be the Mandalorian in a theatrical movie or something like that, and he hinted at it, but again, it's only rumors, not confirmed or anything along those lines. I feel like with Star Wars, people can just watch what they want. Like if you can watch Kenobi without having watched Mando or Andor or whatever. It's true.
A lot of O's. I don't know if we want to roll into the Taika part of this discussion, but I'm very, I don't know, I was just going to say very excited, but I wouldn't say that's accurate. But I really like all of Taika's movies, and I liked what he did. He directed that one episode of Mando, correct, in season 1? Maybe he came back for more.
That's a good question.
He wrote an episode, or he was tied into there some way, right?
He was. He definitely was. Yeah, he did episode 8 of the first season.
There you go.
It
was the last episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or second last? Yeah. Well, anyway, I like all of his movies. I will say that between Thor and now Star Wars, like I want him to do more of his original stuff because I just love the stories, the worlds, the characters he comes up with in his solo ventures. All of his movies are great. But if someone's going to direct a Star Wars movie, he's probably one of the top people that would like work for me. Like that'll probably be one of my favorite Star Wars movies, if not my favorite, honestly, just because He's so good and so funny. So I'm excited for that. I don't know if I don't think I'd want him to do the trilogy. I don't think he'd be the best for that kind of role. I think just kind of a one-off, and maybe he could come back again or something. But just kind of pick some funny character and follow their story. I'd be down for that. So, yeah, I guess that's the next one coming out, and I'd say that's a good way to get back in the swing of things for when you're getting back into the movie world.
And you'd be okay with his humor being in a Star Wars movie? Because it seems like that's a high point of contention for a lot of people.
Yeah. I'm so low on Star Wars right now, and I really have very little love for it, so I don't really care. None of it is sacred to me, honestly. So he can do whatever he wants. He can make it a comedy, and I'm down for that. If they made a horror Star Wars movie, I'd be super down for that. I don't really care. Like I said, my hype is so low that they can go any direction, and it just has to be a strong movie on its own for, I think, me to get invested again. But I know that's not where most people stand, but that's where I'm at.
Fair enough. What about you, Jessica? Are you opposed to the humor, or you go for it?
I'm kind of in the same camp. I feel like I've become very disconnected from everything. When S. Bubs made that comment about who is it? Grogu solo trilogy, I was like, I don't even know who that is. Like, who?
Whoa.
Yeah. And then a couple minutes ago, I saw your Yoda, and I was like, oh, that's Baby Yoda, who's not actually Baby Yoda. And that clicked. But it took me a long time to put those two pieces together. So for me, I'm in the same boat. If whatever they do, I'll see it for the podcast, for sure. It's one of our bigger movies. But I have no intention of going and watching all these series and completely being caught up and watching the animated and the cartoons and the Bad Batch, and it's just too much. It feels overwhelming.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm definitely someone who is anxious about kind of making things a little bit jokey and humorous and stuff like that in Star Wars. Like there's a degree of innocent humor that I can latch onto and I appreciate in Star Wars films. But if they start getting too wacky and blatant with it, then it feels kind of like there's a series called Star Wars Resistance. It's an animated show, and that takes place after Episode 6, leading up to Episode 7. And they have some really quirky humor in there. And again, I digress. It's a kid's show, so I understand that. But if they were to take something along those lines and make it into live action, I don't know if I would jive with it really well. But Taika is he's a good guy. He's a great guy, and he's done some great things. So I'm open.
Yeah, it's, we would be doing a disservice to just kind of put him in this comedy bucket and not discuss what else he does. But he just is so good at making heartfelt characters and connections between two characters. Hunt for the Wilder People. Oh my God, that's a hard one to say. Jojo Rabbit, things like that. He is great at pulling on the heartstrings as well. And there's obviously a close connection between that and comedy in terms of getting close to your heart and grabbing it, hugging tight, all that kind of stuff. And he's just fantastic director outside of just making funny things. So I think there's a lot he could do with it. And maybe he feels like Star Wars isn't a property that you just make as jokey as even like Thor Ragnarok, and maybe he keeps it more straight and narrow and has the comedic moments. Of course, he'll have a funny scene or a goofy character that pops in there, but you wouldn't classify it as a comedy movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair enough. We got a question from S Bubs, Patreon question. Thoughts on Kenobi being the biggest Disney Plus premiere, beating Loki?
Woo. Take that, Loki. Yeah, I guess this isn't surprising. Well, it's not really surprising to me in any way. I was just looking at subscription numbers for Disney Plus, which is still a pretty new service if we look at things all things considered. And I think I just looked it up, and there's something like 8 million new subscribers in the first quarter of this year or something. So as that user base goes higher and higher, obviously these premieres are going to be more and more huge. And when you tie a name like Obi-Wan on there, obviously that's going to pop already. Mix that with a bunch more user base, and it's just a recipe for your biggest premiere. But I think this number will get beaten many times over the years. I don't know what I'd have to think, really do some thought of what would be the next thing that will break it. I don't know if like a Miss Marvel or a She-Hulk are going to be the ones to do that, but I think it will probably be broken again this year, next year, and they'll probably just keep breaking records on this stuff. But yeah, to me, this isn't too surprising to see. But good for them. That's awesome. And obviously, there's a huge hype cycle on the weekend when it came out and all that stuff, and having him on stage doing his stuff and whatnot. So they were really building it up as this event, which obviously they did have an event going on, so it makes sense. So yeah, it was just a recipe of all these things that I think easy in the bag to get that as their most watched premiere. Like, Mandalorian was a huge show, but that was like came out the day Disney Plus launched. You're not going to have that many people tuning in compared to what you're going to have a year or two later for the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jessica?
I am surprised in the fact that I loved Loki. It's absolutely amazing. I'm surprised in that fact, but I'm not surprised, like Dylan said, the service is growing, especially with things like Netflix trying to increase their prices. People are jumping ship, changing to other services. So it does make sense now that there is more people, so obviously we're going to have more viewers. I think it's going to be more interesting to see how the numbers line up, a year or two down the road, after everything's kind of been going for a while. You can see not just how many initial viewers, but how many overall viewers, like total. So yes, we get a huge spike right now, but how many people after watching this went and watched WandaVision or Loki and boosted those numbers now? So I do think as well, like Dylan said, the Obi name, there is a huge fan base. There's tons of movies, tons of books, tons of everything. And I think the fact that they actually got Ian McGregor back, if I'm not mistaken on name. Ewan.
Personal preference.
I think the fact that they got him back as well, that's not someone pretending to be him or whatnot, I think that helps a lot as well. And I do think the fact that, I don't know, I feel like Loki is a smaller part of the Avengers than Obi was for Star Wars, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Taylor?
It's a good question. Like, I really, really love Loki. It's one of my top favorite shows in Disney Plus. So naturally, if Obi-Wan Kenobi beats its premiere, then that means I just love Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I do. It's just a fantastic show. So my thoughts on it, like, I do attribute it to being released at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard
You
Time.
think that's a big part of it?
I think that's a key component.
Is that number does it not count like a 24-hour cycle of a thing? Or is it like strictly when it launches? I figured it would
That's
be like
a
the
good
weekend
question.
or the 24 hours.
Yeah, I think
In
it's
which
24
case,
hours.
Loki would be, like, I don't think it would be too impacted. Yes, you're going to have more people watching at night instead of the next day. But I that's how I took it, at least. But
I need to see their algorithms. I don't know. I don't know the code behind it.
yeah, because if not, then yeah, you're right. Like, that would be a big factor. At least for a very specific, well, not very specific, but just at least West Coasters.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it opens up to, I guess, maybe a lot of people that are on the East Coast would be like, yeah, I'll stay up till midnight to watch it instead of 3 a.m. It's easier on them. And if you're on another island completely, I mean, I can't speak to that. You're 8 hours ahead. I don't know what time that is, but maybe it's more convenient for you. I don't know. But
For Hawaii, it's probably prime, like 8 p.m. Let's go.
8 p.m. Yeah, the best time.
Let's all move to Hawaii.
But no, I'm excited. I'm very, very excited.
So, just to kind of go off, Superbad Mike 13 says that they can maybe see Daredevil being next to beat the record. So throw it to you guys. Any guesses or hopes of what's going to be the next big thing?
To beat Daredevil or to beat Obi-Wan?
Or to beat Obi. Do you think it'll be Daredevil? Do you think it'll be something else?
I mean, Daredevil is like a long time away. So, like, yeah, if the user base is like doubled or something, I don't know what the trajectory is for the subscription service. But let me see what else. It's hard to remember all of the shows that exist.
Personally, if there was a show to beat Obi-Wan, I have a hunch it could be the Ahsoka show. It's just like, it's a little inkling of a feeling.
You think that's bigger than Obi?
I think because you're getting Hayden in there as well. You know, Rosario Dawson coming in as Ahsoka.
But do you put Hayden on the title card on Disney Plus?
I hope
Like,
you put
when
Thrawn
see
on
Obi
there,
and
but
he's in
that's
the
my
desert
bias.
And his hair's flowing, like that gets people to click right away.
It does. Seeing Ewan McGregor back there, that's definitely title card worthy. I'm probably a little biased though with my pick of Ahsoka.
Yeah. Let's see. You know, Spider-Man, that freshman year, that animated show. Like, I guess it's animated. Maybe people aren't as hyped on that, but that's a big name. Or that's like a special. I don't even know if that's a TV show or a special, but maybe like an X-Men thing in the future could be pretty big. That's also years away. I don't know. Yeah, it might actually be a bit before that record gets broken.
It also depends too. Like, I would like to know at what point they stop this count. Like, okay, it's been like I guess a solid week. Does it run for the whole week? Like, what's the max? Like, what do they have to beat now? Because I haven't seen those numbers. I think Travis said those numbers are going to drop like soon or something like that. So I'd like to know how big of a margin it is between Loki and Obi-Wan at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll
collectively,
say I think something before Daredevil would do it because that's years away, presumably.
I suppose you said Star Wars Detours by Taika Waititi. I am so all for that. That would be absolutely fantastic. Super Bad Mike. Also, Loki had only one episode first week, whereas Obi-Wan had 2. Not sure if it affects the numbers. That's an interesting thought.
I don't foresee why that would impact the numbers unless somehow you're getting double counts for people watching 2 episodes or something like that, but I don't think that would have much of an effect personally. An interesting thought though. And if that was the case, like if they attributed that to be a thing where maybe people are more motivated to stay up because there's 2 episodes of a thing, then maybe they start doing more of that, and that would be nice. That would be nice to get the first couple episodes right away. For
sure. I suppose I don't see any announced project from Marvel or Star Wars beating Obi-Wan. Any announced? Interesting. Well, luckily we did a cast not too long ago of all the possibly unannounced Marvel content that could be coming. Yeah, so maybe something in there will dethrone Obi-Wan.
Something will.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it for Star Wars for now, unless you guys had any closing thoughts on it.
Here's a question for you guys then to kind of end it off. Do you think Pinocchio will become the biggest Disney Plus movie? Even with the new trailer that we just got?
No. I'll share my thoughts as to why when we get to that trailer discussion.
Do we want to do a first ad break before we do that?
Yeah, we're going to drop into an ad break here, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So are we going? Is that where you want to go? You want to go into trailers? Talk about some.
Well, I just figured it was a good transition to Pinocchio, upcoming Disney Plus. We were talking about.
We're changing the format here, changing it on my schedule here. Let's talk about the possessed toy. Where do you want to start, Jessica?
The possessed toy.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a possessed toy.
Thanks for clarifying.
I mean, he becomes a boy at the end. He's real at the end.
Big spoiler moment.
I will be honest. Starting this trailer, I had absolutely zero interest. I mean, I had zero knowledge first, but zero interest in it. Turns out it's Tom Hanks, which actually kind of isn't surprising. He seems to be that feel-good father figure type role. And in the beginning, I was just like, I have no interest in this. I don't even want to watch this trailer. But then you saw some of kind of the more magical stuff, you know, the cat and the fox, you know, those creatures, and they kind of looked fun and happy. And I was like, you know, I'm interested to see that part. Pinocchio is one of those movies that I'm always like, I should go back and rewatch this because I remember it was not that bad. And then I'm like, nah, and I never do it. So that's kind of my feelings on Pinocchio. This movie doesn't really change that. And I'm not drawn to it.
I will say that we had a couple trailers. So I opened up 2 YouTube tabs, and I was watching one trailer, and then I watched Pinocchio trailer, but I didn't realize that the first YouTube trailer I watched had autoplay on, and it autoplayed to The Gray Man, as I was watching the Pinocchio trailer, so like randomly during Pinocchio, it'd be like, "Brrr," just like these loud like Inception like screams, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Like, it's just some guy like tinkering on a desk, and there's like some big horror music vibes like popping in here. So I was very confused until I realized. Well, and then I heard Anna de Armas in the background. I was like, "What's going on?" I'm so confused. Then I looked at my other tab and saw the big mistake I made. Yeah, this trailer didn't do much for me. It looks good visually, of course, but I'm just kind of bored by these remakes that they've been doing. I've mentioned this on the cast in previous years, but like I watched all these movies as a kid, the Lion Kings and the Beauty and the Beasts and all that, but I didn't grow up with them. Like I watched them as a kid, and then I just never watched them ever again, and they therefore didn't really age in my mind in a nostalgic way. I just kind of have distant memories of them, but they don't really do much for me anymore. Pinocchio is one of them, so I'm not too excited for it. I think this is an easy skip for me. Nothing really about this trailer or the cast or anything got me too excited about it. So, yeah, I'm going to be watching The Gray Man instead of Pinocchio.
That's your go-to for sure. I didn't really grow up watching the cartoon of Pinocchio. I bought the DVD just for the Disney collection purposes. There was another Pinocchio movie I saw back in the day, and it was live action. And man, it was good. I wish I could. I'd love to find it. It was such a fantastic live action Pinocchio movie. There's
With, like puppeteering and stuff like that, or
yeah, it's. Oh, I wish I knew. It was like not Pinocchio Returns or something like that, but it's just. It was such a good movie. But that being said, there's elements about Pinocchio that I really get excited for, and Jiminy Cricket is one of those reasons. I think Jiminy Cricket is fantastic, and they were showing that cricket left, right, and center in this trailer, so I was digging it. He was the star for sure. I'm glad they didn't show the whale. Okay, if you found one of them that's not the one I'm talking about, Jessica, there's another one. I swear to God, that one looks like it's like a play. That's not the one I'm talking about. This one's like predates it.
How old do you think this is?
Okay, let's see if I can find it.
This picture is from a 2020 movie, and it's
definitely not 2020.
2020? There was a 2020 Pinocchio movie?
Oh, maybe 2019. Yeah, it's super creepy looking.
Did this one go into public domain as well? What's going on here?
I found it.
Yeah, it's not. You just search live action Pinocchio.
It kept giving me that weird 2021 or whatever. It was super weird. Oh my God, I found it.
So wait, they released a Pinocchio movie in 2020?
They did.
Like Disney did. They released.
Ooh, wasn't a Disney one, no.
Who released this movie then?
This is like, this one is peak performance.
Dude,
oh my God.
I feel like I've seen this. I feel like I've seen this. This is kind of terrifying.
The Adventures of Pinocchio. This was such a good movie. God
That's
damn
a possessed puppet. That's a possessed puppet.
There he is as a boy. It's like a Goosebumps adventure or
kind of
something
scary.
like that.
We should do a retro of this. I'd be down to check this out.
Absolutely.
I'm more interested in this one than the new one coming out.
Pinocchio 2020.
Pinocchio is such a hard name to spell on the fly.
Yeah, there's this one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the one that came up for me.
Yeah. So where does this movie come from?
It comes from, what's his name? Roberto Benigni, I think.
What the hell? I can't believe this came out, and I just did not know. Whoa! I did not need.
It's the creation of the possessed toy, I guess. Yeah. But yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad they didn't show the whale though in this. Jesus Christ, chat. Give me a break here. Get out of there.
Got some hooligans in there tonight.
Oh, there's one consistent hooligan. Get out of there. You're gone. S-Bubs, yeah, they make like 5 Pinocchio movies a year.
What the hell? Oh, it is public domain.
Is it really?
I didn't think it was that old. But there you go.
We could essentially make a Pinocchio GeekVerse film or something like that.
Huh. Crazy.
It's very interesting. Superbad Mike. They have me at Tom Hanks. So no kindly old man he can't play. This is a big get for Disney Plus original. I actually didn't realize it was a Disney Plus original until it started talking about Disney Plus premiere and all that jazz, which I think is exciting. I know, I suppose mentioned Lady and the Tramp remake was a Disney Plus original as well. I never thought about that movie after the day it released.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just glad they didn't show the whale though. I think there's a lot of hopefully the CGI is good. That's my
You're really
biggest
set on this
concern.
whale.
I am. I love a good underwater
That's
sea
big part of the
creature.
plot. Yeah.
It definitely eats some people.
Whoa.
Doesn't chew them. They're alive. Spoilers, but
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of just really funky stuff in Pinocchio because someone was telling me like it teaches you that if you misbehave, bad things happen or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, of course.
Yeah,
They
your
didn't actually-
nose turns like 3 feet long if you lie.
And
Yeah.
turn into a donkey and get beat.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite iteration is definitely the Shrek version, but as we've seen now, there's many different Pinocchios out there.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you. I was just gonna say, why aren't we talking about this one? This one's got a stacked cast. Ewan
There's a
McGregor.
second Pinocchio movie this year.
Yeah, Finn Wolfhard, Kate Blanchett,
What the?
What?
Tilda Swinton. Yeah, like this, it's stacked. It's by Guillermo del Toro, and it was super hard to bring up because it's releasing this year as well. It's in post-production, expected December 2022. But I'm so excited for this one. This one looks way better.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that one.
This one, I'm just going to share the screen here. This one looks so much nicer, just the animation. Oh, it's over. Okay.
Oh,
Here
it's
we
a
go.
Netflix.
I love a good stop motion moment.
Not bad. Good looking cricket, too.
Yeah.
Well, the
we
cricket
got,
is Ewan McGregor. Is that what I said, too?
up to our ears in Pinocchio movies here.
That definitely is
noses.
McGregor.
Well, only you can
Tyrannosaurus
hear it,
Pinocchio.
so.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely McGregor.
You know what we should do whenever this one comes out? We should all watch a different Pinocchio movie and then review it as if we all watched the same movie.
I
I'm
love
gonna-
that idea.
Jessica, you found the stop motion one, so I will kindly you can have that one.
Like you gotta
I'll
draw
watch
them
this
from a
weird
hat.
2020 one. You can watch.
No,
the new
I
one
found
too.
this. I found this. I call it Shotgun.
Okay, well, let's do that. That's how we can make some Pinocchio content.
So, Dylan, are you going to watch Pinocchio's Adventure?
I'll watch the
Oh,
2020
I'm taking
one,
the
or
adventure one.
I think Taylor probably. I'll watch the weird 2020 one with the face thing that we just looked at in horror.
And Taylor gets Disney Plus, the new one.
No, I wanted that. That Adventures of Pinocchio. Sign me
yeah,
up any
give
day
Taylor
of the
that
week.
one. Kirklin can take the new one, and Travis can watch the original from back in the day.
I legit think we should do it. It sounds like a great
go.
idea.
That'd be good. Ask Not sequel. Interesting. It's a Netflix movie. Oh, super bad, Mike. There's a Pinocchio video game coming out soon.
Of course, there is.
Pinocchio's
SpongeBob's
popping off.
Dark Souls sequel Pinocchio game.
That'd be cool.
Christ.
Use his nose as a sword. I'm down with that.
Oh, well, do you guys have anything else you want to add to Pinocchio?
No.
No? Okay. How does Rowan Atkinson stand for you guys? You guys like that Mr. Bean?
Oh man. Jessica, no. What's wrong? What's wrong with him?
I just never got into the Mr. Bean thing. Didn't like it. And then it got to the point pretty much any movie that he was in, I just didn't watch because I knew it was going to be the exact same humor. And it was just, I was like, I don't even want to see it. I know it's going to be the same. If he's in it, I'm not watching it because I'm done with it. It's all the same. It's just the same thing in a different setting. Every movie.
You're big on
he's just-
Mr. Bean, aren't you, Dylan? I can feel it.
As a young lad, I was another just very very much like Pinocchio, not a guy that I've kept up with, and kind of as I got older, I didn't go back into that honeypot. You didn't really set up what movie we're talking about. You kind of just brought up. Rowan Atkinson, I think.
I'm brewing us up for it. Yeah.
So I'll say that, but you're obviously a big fan because you were heartbroken when Jessica was displeased with his presence.
Yeah, my dad introduced me to Mr. Bean and Rowan Atkinson when I was younger, and just
Like in person, like he's
no,
like
I
you know,
wish. Oh my god, I wish. Just this Mr. Bean TV show. It was just fantastic, and then Johnny English, like all these different characters he was playing, I just loved. And so now, what we're gonna talk about, Netflix's Man vs. Bee. they put out a trailer not too long ago, and yeah, Rowan Atkinson is in it, and he's just basically squaring off against this bee, and I am so sold on it. He's just got this innocent humor that just hits my funny bone, and there's never something he doesn't do that doesn't make me laugh. He delivers.
That's awesome. That's my Jack Black. Like my Jack Black is your Rowan Atkinson. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Who's your Rowan Atkinson Jack Black, Jessica?
Yeah, who's your equivalent?
Like comedy god type in my mind. Is that what
Like
you're asking for?
Everything they do is funny to you, like that person. Do you have one of those?
I don't think so.
Maybe like a Will
Not off the top of my head, anyway.
No? Okay. We'll
Oh,
stew
I
on
will
that.
give Rowan Atkinson props for Rat Race. That movie is prime
That's a great movie.
prime quality entertainment. And he
I
was
guess maybe that hasn't
Zazu
aged well,
in
but
Lion King.
I should go back and check it out.
It doesn't age well, but
Oh,
but it was prime in its time.
yeah.
Yeah, like everything I'm looking at, all the stuff it's just, Mr. Bean TV show. Oh, Mr. Bean TV show. Mr. Bean's Christmas. It's all
Fuck, that's good.
Every holiday.
So, and it looks like they're even making another one now after Man vs. Bee, Old Bean TV series in pre-production.
Bean.
What?
Wow.
Oh, Taylor's like, that should have been the main topic.
A friendly form of address to be a man? That's not what I want.
What the hell did you say? To speak on Man vs. Bee, this is a movie I feel like I've seen the movie now. I watched the trailer, and I got everything I needed from it. I don't know. I think this is a movie I'd put on like 20 minutes and I'd be like, okay, that was fun, and just turn it off and not need to see the rest. Sorry about that, Taylor, but I think it have some fun moments for sure. But I don't know if there's going to be a gripping story. Not that there needs to be. That would hook me in from the whole way. But I really want to know, like, how do you think this movie ends? Because they're kind of setting up that he's on trial for committing various crimes, such as throwing a grenade in his backyard or whatever he did there. But, like, what happens? Does he go to prison? Does he get the bee? Does the bee, like, start talking English and they have a conversation? Do they become friends? What do you think happens at the end of this movie?
Hopefully not like a life sentence or something like that. That'd be pretty unfortunate.
Because think about it, when he's behind bars, the bee could come through those bars and bug him one last time as he's in his prison cell rotting away. Like they could go like 50 years later and he could be just old, like beard down to the floor, and this bee is still bothering him.
Do bees live for 50 years?
This one probably does.
This one does.
Sinister, or it's just like he goes back to the hive and shares the story, and then they send another new bee.
I don't know. I don't know where this movie could really end up, to be honest. I think there's potential, but I think it's going to be a very basic Rowan Atkinson comedy film. I don't think it's going to be anything granular, and yeah, I don't really know what to expect. But
I feel like it's going to be one of two ways: either he kills the bee, or they become best friends. Which one do you think it is out of those two?
Probably best friends.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they'll be friends and then the bee will die. It'll be like a sad, funny moment. Because that's how it always is. It has to be funny.
A sad, funny moment.
So you think
he'll be
sad
crying
when
over
the
this little bee, and then everyone will be like, what's his problem? And he'll be like over dramatic crying.
Right. Yeah.
I hope not. I hope to God that's not it. Crikey. Or they kill each other, Super Bad Mike says. I mean, you never know.
Ooh.
Oof.
Yeah.
Rowan Atkinson was really beating himself up in that trailer, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Christ.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't think I have anything else to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys ready to move along?
Let's move.
So we got some more series coming out here on streaming platforms, courtesy of Sony. They've confirmed an upcoming God of War series on Amazon, a Horizon series going to Netflix, and a Gran Turismo series, which is currently unannounced on which platform it's going to drop. And I found this interesting because comparing it off with all the other Sony projects, we have Last of Us dropping on HBO and then Twisted Metal coming to Peacock. So these guys are like starfishing in every direction. Now, how do you guys feel? Like, what's your most anticipated of these three new shows announced?
I think, well, definitely not Gran Turismo. Like that's definitely third if we're making a ranking. You know what? I'm honestly gonna go with God of War as my number one, even though I haven't played any of those games before, and Horizon at number two, even though I have played both of those games. And it's just because God of War's like everything I hear is that it has like the new one at least has a great story and some great performances and all that, and I want to get a piece of that, but I think it's the gameplay that doesn't do it for me, and it's why I haven't really jumped into that game. But it's kind of like the same thing I've talked about with The Last of Us show, where I don't like playing those games, but I love to get the story delivered to me in another fashion, and a TV show is a great way to do it. So, yeah, I'm down to see the God of War one, and I guess I also maybe worry a bit with Horizon and how you make a budget for that one work and look good and do the game justice for what is like one of, if not the most beautiful game ever. Both of those games are amazing visually. So I don't know. I think that would be very hard to get right. And maybe if they do it right, it's just like very boiled down, very simple story and quite simple, and you don't see tons of these machines. So yeah, I guess I worry more for that one. And but you know, also God of War, like I feel like Amazon's TV shows a little hit and miss. Would we say is that a fair assessment? Like some of their stuff doesn't seem to track much, but then other ones like really pop. Like isn't The Boys Amazon?
The Boys is Amazon. In my experience, like most of Amazon shows are pretty good. I would definitely put
Okay.
them above Netflix originals. That's
I guess one of the people working on this God of War thing worked on the Wheel of Time, which I've heard that is not good and not good adaptation. So that's maybe one thing I was considering. But and then I guess the other people working on this are worked on The Expanse. Did you guys watch The Expanse, or do you know much about that one? I think I've heard some good things, but I feel like it's more a little more low key.
I never seen it, but I heard
Okay.
heard good things, good rumors.
So it could be in good hands. But yeah, I'd say I'm excited for the God of War. But you're right. It is very interesting how Sony is spreading the wealth on these games and letting every streaming service have a swing in it. I wonder what the Disney Plus Sony show will be. That'll be interesting.
It's tricky because if you were to put out the same show on multiple streaming services, then you could see what's the most well received in terms of ratings, reviews, and I guess views and stuff. But if you're doing different shows, which obviously are more popular IPs over others on different streaming services, you're definitely seeing and getting a good feel for what's definitely getting more subscription services to watch these shows. But at the same time, I don't know if you're getting solid, accurate ratings because HBO Last of Us, I feel like, is just going to be number one overall. Like, I think God of War is like a strong second to that. Twisted Metal, people are going to want to see, but I don't want to rent Peacock. Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it also depends on their marketing budget too. Even just to look back at Pinocchio, Disney's got this huge marketing budget. They're pushing the commercials, and the other one from Netflix, none of us had even heard of. And apparently,
and
it's
that's
been
Guillermo del Toro too. Like you would think we'd hear about that.
yeah, it's been announced for a while. So, you know, you kind of have to think who's got the money to push and really get it in front of people's faces. I am so excited for God of War, though. Unbelievably. I love it. I have everyone. I've played everyone.
Nice.
I think there's so much lore and story that you can go into with the Greek gods and seeing how they can be adapted. And you could even, you know, whether or not this happens, get into like spin-offs on different Greek gods and things like that, which is super interesting to me. I'm really excited to watch it. I haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, but I've watched someone play it for a little bit, and it's really beautiful, and it's super fun to look at. And I'm sure that one would give them a little more creative freedom. You know, there's only Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is not out yet, right?
It is. It came out in February.
Okay. So I guess they still have 2 games that they would have to work around, but you'd have to speak on that more, Dylan. Do you feel that they're kind of funneled in what they can do with that series?
No, you're right. Like they really could pare it down where the games are pretty long and the stories are pretty involved. The first game's story is, I'd say, more cohesive. The second one's a bit of a mess. But yeah, like I that's what I mean, like with budget too. Like I just don't know how you can achieve like some of these different areas and big set piece, big moments if they follow it beat for beat. Whereas I think God of War could get away with that a lot easier if they. I'm thinking if they stick to kind of the 2018 God of War, and obviously the old ones would be a whole different mess. But I don't think they're really going to do that kind of style for a TV show. So, yeah, I guess I don't know how you do Horizon, and like maybe you could tell some new stories, and I'd be down for that. But I don't know if that's the route they would go down. Like I think they'd probably want Aloy as your main character and to follow her story again. So that's less exciting. But I mean, if it's just something in the world, then obviously they could scale it down as much as they need to fit the budget, and that could work. So
I feel like
Which I'm
that would
down
be the
for.
smarter way to go, to have a new character in the world. With God of War, you say God of War, you instantly know Kratos. You don't have that ability to deviate. I think with Horizon Zero Dawn, if you just had the world, I think it would still attract people.
yeah, but I also do think that Sony. I think they really want Aloy to be like the PlayStation mascot. Like I feel like they're really building her up. Like they're gonna make so many of these Horizon games over the years, and she's always gonna be on the cover. I think they want her to be a big deal. So I think she'll be in the show as the main protagonist. I don't see them doing something else. And obviously with these kinds of things, like we could see side characters and whatnot, and explore more of their stories, and I'd like to see some of that as well. But then once again, like, God, I don't know how they're gonna condense even a part of one of those games into a TV show. Like I'm just scared for how that's gonna go.
Super Bad Mike in the chat. Depends if they are adapting the original God of War trilogy or the new games. If they do the old games, it would pretty much just be balls to the wall gory
No way,
action.
they're doing 2018. They're gonna retell that story beat for beat. I think.
Wouldn't just be gory. There would also be sex. Come on now.
There would be
Everyone
sex.
remembers playing that game. You had to like push the buttons at the right time.
Was that a thing in that game?
Yeah, you had to like please these women, and there was like a thing that got smaller and smaller, and you had to press circle at the right time. And there'd be like this little.
That's hilarious. I mean, you mentioned The Boys is very gory. Maybe Amazon likes that, big blood and guts moments. So maybe God of War is right at home there. They can go all. Do they have sex scenes and stuff like that in The Boys, or do they just more steer on the violence? Okay, they do.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Okay, well there you go. Repeat that original trilogy. Good to go.
That's a really good point. The Boys is super balls to the walls. So I feel like it's in good hands. Definitely better than Disney. And I don't think Netflix is bold enough to quite go where it needs to go.
Take that.
No, I don't.
Horizon's
think
pretty
Netflix
tame,
is.
so that's in good hands.
Looking at the three, like, yeah, Gran Turismo. That's a wild pick. Like, the only competition they're up against is like the Fast and the Furious franchise, and I don't know if that's like much to compete with because Fast and Furious is like up there. Again, those
What
are
about
movies.
Cars? Isn't that their competition?
Cars. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Anything with an automobile, really. It's just if someone were to be like, "Hey, we're doing a Need for Speed movie," I'd be like, "Oh, good for you." But like, it's a weird thing to see a Gran Turismo.
There is a Need for Speed movie, isn't there?
I think so.
Fuck, there is. There's the guy from Breaking Bad. Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Everything is getting movie, a game,
Shit.
TV show.
But I'm kind of the same as you guys. I would put God of War probably first on my list. When I think of Horizon as a TV series, I get kind of antsy and like Halo PTSD starts flashing in my mind, and it kind of worries me. But I think God of War has definitely the most righteous chances.
Like, I think Horizon as an animated show would be really cool. I'd be down for that. I'd probably let them alleviate some of the budget stuff, even if it was like doesn't look like the game. Like they go with their own kind of visual style. I think that could be pretty cool.
Well, nothing's been announced yet that I see, so it is possible that it is animated that they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully,
Don't hold
Gran
my breath. I
Turismo
think it'll
does
probably be
as
live
well.
action, but we'll see.
I think they're all just going to be live action. Yeah. Are there any other like IP that you guys think will make it to series, like Sony franchises that are exclusive that'll become TV shows?
You mentioned all those ones. There also Ghost of Tsushima. I forget if it's a movie or a show. I think that's a show, right? That's happening as well. So there's a lot going on. I'm trying to I mean, Uncharted. They did the movie. Are they going to do another one? I don't think that movie did very well, did it?
No, it didn't. I watched that the other night.
When I first said Uncharted, I forgot that the movie existed. I was like, oh yeah, that came out 2 months ago. So yeah, shit. What else is there at this point?
They've done Ratchet and Clank animated movies. There's Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper. Some like old throwbacks. Those ones would be more
saying they did do that, or they have yet to do those two?
That's possible. Different titles that they could go with. But I mean, did either of you play those? You know, I think they have to consider really what's more new and popular.
Yeah, that's
That'll
the thing.
get them
Like
the
those
views.
Sly Cooper and Jack and Daxter have kind of been on ice for a while, so I don't think they're going to that one right now.
You could always get like an Infamous TV series. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, a little bit out of the news cycle, but superhero stuff is flying off the shelves, as the kids say, so that could work.
Would you ever watch a Death Stranding TV show?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love Death Stranding and how weird it is. I'm so down. And bring over the same cast. You know, get Norman Reedus in there, Margaret Qualley. Bring them all over. Come on, let's do it.
Super Bad Mike is definitely all about that Jack and Daxter. And Bloodborne TV show. There you go.
Okay, that Bloodborne would be kind of sweet as well, potentially.
They definitely got a good rich pot to pull from for TV shows, and it depends. Obviously, they're still going around. Maybe they'll give Disney Plus one of their shows. They'll give Bloodborne to Disney Plus.
I think they should hold off for a bit though. Like they got 5-6 things in the works, and Uncharted already maybe not the best start. So let's see how these things go first. I think before we worry about handing off more of this IP.
Yeah, it's funny how.
What about a Dark Souls?
Well, that's not PlayStation, but
or
no,
Demon Souls.
I don't want to see that. Demon Souls, I guess, was a PlayStation 3 exclusive at the time, but and I guess the remake was exclusive as well. I think it's maybe coming to PC, but it's not. I don't think it's like a PlayStation IP, but.
It's cool that the video games are getting TV shows these days as opposed to movies, because video games can kind of explore, like The Witcher. Witcher's doing pretty good on Netflix, and I guess like in terms of like a comparison for what Horizon could be like. I mean, Witcher's pretty. It's good. It's gory and it has some sex scenes and it's pretty rowdy. I don't know if Horizon will go that route.
No, Horizon is not that kind of tale. No.
Okay, that's good to know. Oh yeah, Travis, you like that thumbnail, don't you? Have you guys seen the thumbnail yet?
No.
It's a juicy one.
Where can I get a whiff of this thumbnail at a glance?
See it on the YouTube.
Okay.
We'll jump to a quick ad break and we'll be right back. And we're back. You like it, eh, Dylan?
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah, that's a juicy one. Because this is kind of like our final closeout topic, and it's definitely very powerful. Do you guys like Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, Winnie the Pooh, my favorite.
Yeah. Have you ever imagined Winnie the Pooh being a fucked up serial killer?
Yeah, I have now.
Well, I got just the thing for you.
Oh God.
There we go. So yeah, this is definitely a thing because as I wrote in my notes, copyright is a fickle bitch, but when the rights to Winnie and his friends recently dropped onto the public domain, the creators of this movie were just waiting for this opportunity. The plot, in case you guys don't know this.
I need it.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. We'll see Pooh and Piglet as the main villains going on a rampage. After being abandoned by a college-bound Christopher Robin is pulled away from them and he's not given them food. That's made Pooh and Piglet's life quite difficult. It is also specified that they actually killed and ate Eeyore in this movie.
That's such a great detail to throw in there.
Wow. But yeah, this is just like terrifying. These guys are like totally fucked. Oh yeah. Like, I'm just curious, what do you guys think of this?
Go ahead, Jessica.
When I first saw the pictures, I thought it was like a meme. I thought it was a joke. I didn't actually expect it to be a real legit movie. That being said, do we know the genre? Is it supposed to be horror? Because I feel like
Yeah.
this is just going to be laugh the entire time.
It's definitely not a rom-com, I can tell you that.
Yeah, thriller, horror.
I want to watch it strictly for the fact that I think it'll be hilariously bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love this. I'm so happy this exists. I love the title. That is a great subtitle for this. Blood and Honey. Oh, that gets my blood boiling. I'm just so happy this exists. Like that. This is such a fun, like public domain for Pinocchio. Just a bunch of weird, boring ass movies that are all the same thing over and over again. But with Winnie the Pooh, no, we're gonna go down a dark path, which is cool. But unfortunately, I mean, it's good to give a new guy a shot. But like the director, writer of this, checked out his IMDb, and there's no credits there. He has not created anything before. He's got a few things that are complete or post-production, whatnot, but nothing that we can look to in terms of like, where's the quality going to be for this? So, but this is one that I don't think I would set my expectations high. I think it's just a fun ride to go on regardless. And yeah, as Jessica said, like just laugh at how bad it is and how silly it is. But yeah, this is a day one for me. I'm excited for this. This is super fun.
Yeah, this just totally came out of nowhere, and I'm super, super stoked for it. I get vibes of Willy's Wonderland just looking at this for some weird reason, and it's just one of those quirky horror movies that comes along like once every like 3 to 5 years, and it's just a must see because you don't know what you're in store for, and it's just so outrageous, obnoxious, and yeah, like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It's just, that is so fucked up. That's so weird. The original creator of Winnie the Pooh, he just this heartwarming story back in the day. I wish that I could like pick him out from time and plop him in a theater to watch this movie and just see. I wouldn't watch the movie. I just watch his facial
cruel.
reactions. Cruel?
I think that's kind of cruel.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. I mean, if I could do it, like I wouldn't, but I'm intrigued enough to want to see it.
Imagine like your greatest work, like you're reincarnated to just observe your greatest work turned into this monstrosity, like B movie or whatever, CD movie, whatever you want to call it, and then you just go back to non-existence. Like that would be brutal.
That would be pretty upsetting. Yeah. Jesus. But it's on public domain now, so I wonder what else we can expect from Winnie the Pooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like they have like hands, not Pooh hands.
The
Or
budget ran out after the masks.
the mask is all you get.
Yeah.
I want to say I love that they're driving around in what looks like a Dodge Charger or a Mustang or something like that. It's just it's so peculiar. I just feel like you could watch the Ewan McGregor Christopher Robin movie and then watch this as like a spiritual sequel if you wanted to.
Wow. But wait, the sequel, isn't Christopher Robin like an old man in that one? And this, he's like going off to college or something. Well, I guess you could go off to college as an old man. But.
Yeah, he decides after he's an old man to go to college. Yeah. I think that's it for the notes, though, as far as I got. You guys have anything else you want to add to Winnie the Pooh or any other last-minute additions to notes here?
Pokemon news coming out tomorrow. Just because Travis isn't here, I'll throw it out there. It's about Scarlet and Violet.
It's juicy. Juicy.
Yeah, that's not just out some Pokemon.
I'll quickly add this in there, Taylor. Last week when I was like, I wanted to jump on a new a cast, so I asked if I could join this one, and your GIF response was just golden, where it was just Boromir and getting tackled by the hobbits and like them just all hugging it out. And I gotta say, like in this last week, I can't tell you the amount of times I've just randomly started laughing. And Mads just thinks I'm crazy. Like, what are you laughing at over there? And we're just camping out in the woods, and I just like start cracking up randomly because I just thought of this GIF again. That got me a good amount of laughs this last week. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm
glad you did that
some
one.
laughs. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode in the books. We'll be back with much more news, content, everything, and yeah, keep tuning into our social media channels and our news feeds for more information. But until next time, we'll see you in the search bar.
Bye-bye.